Well, rolling it. All right. Roy Dickenson.
It's good to be here.
Thank you so much for
am I
having
supposed to call you Hutch?
Hutch.
Yeah.
Have you ever called me Hutch?
No, but on your card, you said you wanted to be Hutch and Pittman was going to be Starsky.
Is that right?
You don't remember that?
Dude, it's been like 15 years. And I've been a little bit out of my head since then.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But thank you so much for coming by.
Very good to be here. It's good to get out today.
Yeah, I know, right? Is it too much traffic? Or
Oh, God, there was a lot of traffic.
was there really?
Yeah. I used to live up this way way back when, 80s.
In the
and
80s?
There was nothing up here. Now, you got all these extra lanes and all these extra exits that weren't up here.
Yeah.
It's really grown. I'm really old.
Nonsense. Well, maybe a little.
That's not yours. That's mine.
Oh, and you're retired too, is that right? How long have you
I'm
been?
keeping myself a little busy by substitute teaching, volunteering at the Y.
Oh.
And I was going to actually be volunteering at an old folks home.
Is that
I had to
right?
get fingerprinted and background check and everything. And I'd not quite gotten assigned. And then all this breaks out.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm not going to pet you if you're going to interrupt me.
That's right. Hey, no petting Alita. This is the first time I think she's been on camera. Maybe once before.
She's so cute.
Yeah, right. She knows it too, man.
And it's Alita Battle Angel.
That's right. Alita.
I liked that movie. That was pretty good.
I thought it was good.
It was kind of a teen girl movie, but
It was.
is it based on a video game?
It's a manga. So if you look behind you,
Book?
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
With pictures.
Who was our librarian? Got me into some of those manga comics and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read a couple of those so I could try and understand you young folks.
Oh, is that right? I never really read them when I was younger.
Didn't help.
I think I only got into them now. What did you read?
The first one I read was, I guess it's a classic. It was about the Nazi mouse, and the Nazis are cats, and the Jewish mouse.
Jewish mouse.
It's one of the very first comic book novels or something.
I had no clue.
It's he said, well, this is the first one you got to read. What was his? Cornelius. Caleb Cornelius, yeah. He was always telling me things I needed to read so I could stay young.
Stay young. I have to. I don't know if any one of us kids were reading any of
The nerds were.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I haven't even
They were always in the library when I went in there.
reading manga.
Being a nerd myself, I was very comfortable in the library.
I see. Do a lot of reading. I'm only starting to get into it
a lot
now.
Of reading. Right now, I'm reading a book about the Biafran Civil War in 1963. I think it is.
1963.
Everybody's getting shot and macheted, and I'm thinking, whoa! And I thought coronavirus was bad.
They're making it seem like it's worse than it is, but we got 100 cases now. So we're dating.
Oh,
this
here in
episode.
Georgia?
Yeah.
Gotcha. We are dating. Do we need to date the episode?
It doesn't really matter.
I'm sure they've heard enough about that.
You think so?
I hope so.
I don't know, man. It's all over social media.
Well, being retired, that's all I do is sit at home, watch TV, and I do Facebook, but I don't Twitter. What are the other ones?
Twitter, Instagram. I thought you would like Twitter as much as you like the written word. Come on, man. That's what it's all about.
No.
Opinions. You don't have any
Facebook,
opinions?
I've lost so many friends on Facebook.
Really?
Yeah.
For over what?
Opinions.
Okay. We all have them.
Every asshole has one.
That's right.
No, that's a quote from somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, how long have you been retired?
So, let's see. I quit working at the Y about 3 years ago. And no, there's a story. Last spring, I was actually still coaching and getting money for coaching at the YMCA. And I was coaching a travel team that, they travel and play. It's pretty good quality soccer, but they were 9 years old. So in the pregame, we always had to skip. That was a part of the pregame.
Skip.
Warm up, had to skip.
Okay.
But we were scrimmaging or something. I tripped over one of them, and then when I hit the ground, nobody laughed.
Nobody laughed.
Usually when the coach falls, it's flesh pile. Everybody, coach. Mothers were getting up thinking I had a heart attack.
Thinking, my goodness.
Maybe it's time for me to retire from this.
So you're all really worried.
Oh, yeah, they were worried. So I've been working with a father, and he took it over.
Okay.
Did that. And then I've been helping out at Darlington with their team, but they've got a lot of teachers that are involved and want to get involved. So I just video some games for them now.
You video?
Oh, not very good quality.
I mean, hell, it's still video, though.
You know what would make you mad, though, is instead of using a tripod like you got here, I use an old walking stick.
That's awesome. That's
So
like a
it's just-
monopod.
Yeah, but it's easier for me to be at the top of the stands and then tilt it to catch, the fighting going on in the benches.
Yeah.
So, but when I walk up to the game, and I'm walking in with my walking stick. Now, who's the old guy with a walking stick?
Not doing yourself any favors.
I use it to put my camera on.
There you go.
Yeah, no.
I never got into them, man. Monopods. I don't really do a lot of E&G stuff like that, though. Most of the stuff that I use like this, where it's just
E&G, what?
that's more like run and gun,
Oh.
right? So like those the type of cameras where and the monopods where you just run, get a couple of shots, bam, 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 more reality type
But
stuff.
see, I'm videoing the whole thing. I don't even stop for timeouts.
Is that right?
I can't edit.
No?
No.
So who do you give the footage to? Just parents?
We got this website, Huddle, I think it is. You download it.
Mm-hmm.
Coach can look at it and make changes, and parents can watch the kids if they missed the game because they were at work or something. It's pretty
that's
cool.
nice.
We didn't have that when I was younger.
Okay. Well, that's one of the jobs that I had when I first started to get into video through school.
Yeah.
Was stuff like that for sports. They had me. I met some guy at like Starbucks,
Yeah.
and he was like the head of this league. I can't remember the organization, but he hired a few students out to go do that kind of stuff. But after one
Cool.
game, it really wasn't for me. I wanted to lean towards more like narrative.
Now
and
they're
stuff
getting,
like
there's this NAFHS network
Mhm.
that comes and it puts cameras on your stadium,
that. Okay.
and it records automatically. There's no person involved.
Wow.
And it records, I think they set up 3 different cameras, both end zones and then one sideline. And it records that way, and the coaches can then edit and send tapes to colleges and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, so
They-
the cinematographer or the videographer job is
Yeah.
going away for some
Yeah,
events.
for these live events. That makes sense. I don't know, man. I don't mind it, though, so much.
Good.
But then again, I'm not really doing that for a living. But,
Good.
I mean, on that topic, a lot of my friends are, like, having to take, a few weeks hiatus because of everything that's going down.
I bet.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This whole industry.
Are you hearing a lot of it out there? Like, up in North Georgia, is that where you are now?
Rome, I moved back to Rome.
Rome?
When I came back to teach.
Yeah.
So that's where I was raised. I'm still there. Live up on a hill there.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you're Georgia.
That's right. You left before I built my house.
Did I?
When did you graduate?
It was 2008, man.
Yeah. In
You were the
2000
last class I was in before I left.
In 2013, I built a 20-foot by 20-foot house up on top of Mount Alto,
Wow.
which is shorter colleges at one end of the mountain, and then the other end's that new bridge over the river.
Yeah.
So that's called Mount Alto, and up on top there, I got a view to the sunrise, a view to the sunset, but it's a tiny house.
Yeah.
And usually a tiny house is where someone goes and micro-engineers the inside of the house.
Oh, it's a literal tiny house.
Oh, it's 20 feet by 20 feet, but that's plenty of room for me, so I didn't have to micro-engineer anything.
Whoa.
And that's because I don't have a kitchen. No oven.
So no cooking at all. You just
I have a microwave.
have my That's not cooking.
I call that cooking. Now, my voice just broke. I'm sure that went, I don't want to know about it.
No, you're good. You're not hearing it, so you
don't wanna
you
hear
don't
my
have
own
to
voice.
worry
No.
about it. So you don't do any cooking. You live in a tiny house. What got you into that lifestyle? Because it's pretty drawn back. Isn't that right?
It's minimalist.
It's minimal.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
My
absolutely.
sister was thinking of designing and building a little house. And hers is actually 1,200 feet.
Okay.
But she gave me the idea, and then I stole it, and my house is much smaller, so my house was built before hers was even started.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, but
Did she build it?
In my house, no, I had a builder. I have an older brother who often will hand me a hammer and go, "Wait, Roy, you can't use that one. That's a left-handed hammer." And I go, "Huh?" I don't. My hands, I can't do anything.
Oh yeah.
So I had somebody build it for me.
I gotcha.
But it's up on top of the mountain, and it's 2 stories. So it's 400 feet, which is garage and bathroom, and then 400 square feet, which is where I live. And it's got windows all the way around, so that in the summer, when the leaves are on the trees, I feel like I'm in a tree house. And in the winter, I got great views.
Wow.
Sunrise, sunset. Yeah.
And just right on a mountain. That is amazing.
1-lane road.
1-lane road.
I've traveled a lot to where was I recently that I was? Oh, I was in Hawaii. There's a great 1-lane road on the north shore of Maui, I think.
Wow.
Oh, bridges and stuff too. But this is not much traffic on this 1-lane road. But if you meet somebody coming the other way, somebody's got to pull over and stop and let somebody
That's
go
wild. Does that happen often, I imagine?
by. Yeah.
Yeah. Over there.
You got to be careful.
Do they have to do the same thing with your place?
So, yeah, right in front of my house is a 1-lane road, and it's a great view. So
Yeah,
a lot
I
of people
bet.
will go up there and just sit in the road and get traffic jams. And
Yeah.
yeah,
So you own the property, or is it just the tiny house?
bought some property and built a house on it. I got 3 acres.
That is insane, man. Have you always lived so minimalist? Because that I imagine that's like a newer thing, the tiny houses, and it's like a more environmentally friendly.
When I first got the idea, I was looking at pictures of fire ranger houses. That, you know, up on top of the mountain, you got all these chairs going up, and you can see for miles and miles and miles. And that's what I wanted, is that view. But then I went to an architect friend and asked him about it, and he said, well, you know, the metal to just get you above the trees is $100,000. I said, I don't need that.
Oh my God.
Let's just do a couple of stories.
Yeah.
And he really helped me. I was thinking of going off the grid. I said,
off the grid?
Maybe I can get like solar panels. And he said, well, solar panels cost you about $10,000. What's your electric bill, Roy? I hate air conditioning.
Right.
So my electric bill now averages $24 a month.
Oh my God.
How many years are you going to have to live there to pay for the solar system that we put in so that you can save all this money to live?
Probably a while.
I stayed on the grid, and I was going to do, rainwater.
Yeah.
My water bill's like $10 a month.
So it's already low.
It's just not worth it.
Oh my God. I was curious.
My beer bill's kind of getting bad.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, now you have all this free time. I mean, come on. Now's the time to live it up, right?
I am very happy that my drug of choice has ended up to be alcohol for the most part.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Have you done anything else? Because I remember you telling me a couple of stories.
Oh, when I was in high school, I would never say anything about it because you didn't want to give kids a wrong impression. But when I was teaching high school. When I was in high school, everything.
Everything, yeah.
I was in high school from 75 to 79. No, 74 to 78. When did I graduate? 77.
I'm trying to remember.
73 to 77. You know, that was that time when people were doing. I mean, the drinking age was 18.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I was 18 in March. So in March of my senior year, I was leaving high school and going buying beer.
Yeah, there you go.
That was a waste of a lot of money.
Oh, really? Must have been fun though. I never really did anything drinking wise. I think I didn't even have my first drink until I was maybe 21. Like. When I was with Miguel or whatever, hanging out with my friends, they had a beer, but I don't count that. I mean, I'm only counting it whenever you actually feel the effects. All I did in high school was just like taste it, and I was like, this is garbage.
I think I was 12 when my dad made me drink a beer to see what it would do to me.
Yeah.
I said, son, you need to feel what this is like.
Oh my goodness. There you go.
He laughed. We were fishing in Canada at the time. It was yeah.
In Canada.
He gave me a good education.
Wow. So, I mean, you did a lot of traveling when you were younger as well?
No. No, I only went to Canada fishing. He had a membership, which I have now, so I go to Canada fishing every year. But I didn't really start doing that until I was 26.
26.
I did go up a few times when I was a teenager.
Okay.
So that was on one of those occasions. But no, I didn't start fishing serious until I was 26.
No.
And I'm not really a very good fisherman.
No?
Nah. It's just fun being out in the river and blue sky and bald eagles and ospreys catching more fish than me.
Wow. So do you do any hunting?
No, never. You know, my dad wasn't a hunter, so I never learned to hunt.
I got you.
I mean, I don't mind hunters. I got so many deer up there on Mount Alto. I wish they'd blow them all away. They're just everywhere.
Yeah, there's a population problem, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I know some of them are getting infected with some kind of worm or something. It's like a thing. I don't know if in Canada it is, but here in the U.S. it's like a big deal.
Oh.
And the infection rate's crazy. Nothing ends up getting past the humans, but they're worried about it because, right, yeah. Because a lot of hunters go out and get it, and it's like a 50% infection rate. It's nuts.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, I never really got into any of that stuff. I wanted to. Now where I work at Outdoor Flicks, everyone there fishes. Everyone. And a lot of the stuff that we've made over the past few years involves fishing and fishermen. So I've learned so much about this sport I have no experience in. And now I'm like, well, maybe I should at least try.
Do you ever watch The Last Man Standing with Tim Allen?
Yeah, that's a show, right?
He owns the fishing store or the hunting and fishing store. That reminds me of that.
Yeah?
Yep.
Oh, my goodness. So let's reverse a little bit.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
It's your agenda. You know me, I'll blab.
I'm all about it. I'm all about it. Speaking of teaching, though, the only class I ever had with you was psychology. But up until that point, you had built a reputation among the students of being a hard ass, and I never really got it even after I took your class.
Yeah, you didn't do well in psychology. You can't count that one. I mean,
I didn't do
You
well.
got a 57 in psychology.
No, I didn't. No, hold up.
That was the first 9 weeks. Then the second 9 weeks was sociology. I think your comment was my mom made me study harder. So you passed that one like a 75.
Hold up now. How do you remember this? Because I
don't remember it. I had to look it up.
Oh. Yeah. When did you look it up? Where did you look it up?
I did all my grades on Excel sheets.
Oh.
I was in advertising for 16 years, and I worked for Apple, so I was an Excel wizard.
Whoa.
So I had all my grades on Excel sheets, and then they were making us do them on some software at school.
But
I could, I was a nerd. I had my grades updated all the time. I could always tell every student what their grade was at that moment in time. And the nerds loved it, being able to know what their grade was.
Wow.
Of course, Homero didn't care.
Well, no, probably not. Probably not.
Turn in a single current event on psychology.
I did one, I'm sure.
No.
Not even one.
No, it was a 0 grade.
All right. Yeah. Well, this is before I wanted to overachieve.
Well said.
But now I'm trying to. Yeah. But things that I'm interested in. It's interesting, though. I did go to college for psychology for the first 2 years, but I ended up giving that up.
That's so funny.
It's wild, man. That's what I went to Dalton State for. I went there to do psychology, and then after 2 years, I was like, I'm going to transfer to the Art Institute. And
that was probably a good idea.
Well, it's an idea for sure.
The one memory, I keep a journal, so I've written, but the one time you made it in, well, actually other times, but one time you made it into my journal, it was.
I made it into your journal?
Something about, I actually should have printed it out. Somebody asked me, what kind of a job do you think I should get, Mr. Dickenson? And I said, and I think it was somebody before you. Somebody did. A
student asked, like in high school.
Blake, was there a Blake?
Yeah.
And Nick. I'm going to confuse them.
Okay.
But you'll be able to straighten out. It was either Blake or Nick said, what should I do? And I said, I think you're going to be in sales or something. And then the reason why. And then you said, what do you think I'm going to do? I said, you've got this interest in music. I think you're going to help old people like me set up their music systems. And you're going to download their playlists for them and help them select music and figure out how to do all that.
Okay.
And then it was Blake or Nick said, what about me? And I said, you need to get used to wearing the color orange.
No way.
And he died laughing. I don't remember if it was Blake or Nick that said it. One of them said something. One of them said
wow.
Which one is in jail?
Neither of them.
Oh, good.
Neither of them. I honestly don't only know one person that I grew up with that made it in jail, and it was for something pretty unsavory. It was wild.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. It was not good.
Don't need to name names.
No names, no charges, but I remember just going through Facebook and seeing it, and I was like, holy shit. Yeah. That's intense, man. Like, no DUI, nothing. Just straight to something a bit more extreme.
Whatever. I saw the one with Mr. Cheney.
Yeah.
And you were explaining to him about one time we all went for a walk late at night.
Oh, yes.
And the next week, you came in and we're going to tell the class that story.
Was I?
And I said, and you said, I was. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. You don't need to tell a story like that. You need to say, I have a friend who.
Oh, I do remember this.
So then you backed up and said, oh, okay, I have a friend who went walking. And then Pittman goes, oh, I know that friend.
Oh, my God. It's funny enough, he reached out after I posted the picture that you sent.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And that was the first time I've heard from him in years.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
that's
but he's doing good. From what I remember, he's playing uncle to Miguel's kid. Do you know Miguel? You ever had Miguel?
I never had Miguel in class.
That's right.
And I remember you mentioned it.
Yeah.
And to me, when I hear the name Miguel, I'm thinking, did Homero have a twin brother?
I didn't.
Were they twins? Did they look alike?
No, not at all.
Is that a racist thing? Are they both Hispanic?
Maybe a little, but it's okay.
But you were both kind of short with long, shaggy hair, and yeah.
Well, I mean,
stoner look.
Well, he wasn't much of a stoner, though.
I know, but it was a look you had down.
Ah, I see. Did I really?
Oh, yeah.
The hair, yeah. It's coming back now, but.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Let's no more on hair.
No more. Well, how about the stoner? Okay. How about the stoner part? I'm just surprised you have so much knowledge about myself and all the students back then. You write journals?
No, I keep a journal, and I read it every once in a while. I've kept a journal since '92.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So. I thought I was going to get Alzheimer's and forget everything.
Yeah?
What's your name again? So it could really come in handy. But the worst situation, oh, God, what was it? Adjustment Bureau. Movie.
The movie, yeah, with Matt Damon.
This looks cool. Mm-hmm. I'll record it. So I record it, and I'm not busy one night. And I said, I'm going to watch this. It was a good man. I'm thinking, well, that's kind of cool. Yeah. And then the ending was surprising. I went, whoa. And then I went, I wonder if I've seen this movie before. So I type it into Find File on my computer twice. I'd already seen it twice.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
Forgotten it completely.
Wow. But I love it when you do that with a movie. Like, or a movie. Or like for me, it's a game, too. But games are so intimate. It's tough to forget everything in there. Yeah.
My dad recently passed with Alzheimer's, and I'd get over to visit him sometimes, and he wouldn't be in a good mood. And I had recorded Shawshank Redemption.
Ooh, that's a good
one. And
I'd
always say, Dad, let's watch this movie. And it always put him in a better mood.
Yeah?
One time he said, have I seen this movie? I said, does it matter? He said, no, Roy, I guess it doesn't matter.
Oh, man.
So we'd watch that.
There you go. That's a cute one, man. I do love that movie, though.
Oh, it's a good one. It's a classic.
Stephen King. He's popping all of a sudden, like with The Outsider. I got the book because of the show. The show was so good. It's on HBO. Have you had a chance to catch it or anything like that?
No. No, I have a girlfriend, so I have to watch a lot of chick shows.
What kind of shows?
Grace and Frankie. Have you heard of that one?
Yes.
Do you watch it?
Yes.
Yeah, we had to watch that.
Absolutely.
Ms. Maisel, you have to watch that one.
That's on Hulu. That's a great show, though.
I wouldn't admit it.
No?
It's pretty good.
Yeah, the writing, man. You can tell a good story in any kind of like scenario. It's all about the writing. Yeah. That's something I'm trying to get into. It's really difficult, though.
I bet.
Yeah, that's
creativity. Creativity's got to be something that's, it has to. You got all these older people who aren't as creative as they were between the ages of 18 and 28. There's got to be something. How old are you now?
I'm 29.
Oh, so sorry, Homero.
Well, it's interesting. Well, why do you think that is, 18 through 28?
It's hormonal. I don't know.
You think so?
It's just the creativity of that age range is something.
See, I think it's something different. I don't think it's the age so much than lifestyle, culture. Because eventually around the age of 28,
there's an argument to be made there.
Yeah. People start to have
Could
kids, or responsibilities or bills. Now it's a whole thing. I'm trying to fight a way to get to the creative more so, because what I do is ads. So I'll do stuff like this, or more shorts or something. Helping out some friends doing some like short film stuff, and it's tough. It's tough. That and having a full-time gig. Holy crap!
I wouldn't know.
No? Well, I mean, you did a lot of stuff when you were teaching. I remember.
That was fun. Right.
Yeah, a lot of traveling.
I was in advertising that was not my first job, but I was in advertising from 24 to 40.
24 to 40?
Yeah.
What did you do in advertising?
So I was in media, and I would basically, one way of looking at it is, in college, I flunked computer science and statistics and had to retake them.
Okay.
And then when I got a job, it was basically using computers to analyze statistics. So the things I was worst at, I got that job. And what I would do is I would analyze clients' customers. So I worked on Apple Computer. I'd say who's buying Apple computers.
Okay.
And then I would analyze how they consume information, what media, and then I would match that media with those customers, and then some creative guy would give the ad, girl or guy, would then produce an ad. So I never did any writing or drawing. I was just in like strategy.
Right. You're doing what an algorithm's doing now, or you
thanks.
did. That's right, though. But that's what it sounds like, because you basically got the statistics to make it so you found that narrow field of who would buy the computers.
But can right now, a lot of it's in the negotiation that goes on in buying print space or in buying. I mean, I know they're using algorithms and buying Facebook ads and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Somebody's got to figure out the words to buy and which ones not to buy. And I'm not sure computers, they're making some of those ethical judgments.
I think the people that are doing that are the programmers who are then working for the company to put that kind of bias on the models that they want.
Yeah.
But it's just data. I think that algorithms like just tell me what I'm looking for, and then we use it to interpret, so it's a whole thing. But I don't know anything about that. That stuff's not fun.
I enjoyed it. That was it was when I went to how many sentences can I start without finishing one? I thought I was smart until I got in this business, and I realized there are a lot of smart people in this world, much smarter than me. Especially when I was working on the Apple account in San Francisco. These people are brilliant. It was an honor to work with some of them.
Yeah. But that's one thing I like working with smarter people.
And, it was a young person's business, not saying 18 to 28, but it was these young people who had the energy and the creativity at the time. Yeah. And so when I hit about 40, I realized, this is a young person's business. I'm not going to be able to make it much longer. So that's when I had my midlife crisis and went from a 6-figure job in advertising to making $25,000 a year at the YMCA in Rome, Georgia.
What? Well, where in the middle did you teach?
So I didn't have a teaching credential. I didn't have any education classes. So I moved back to Rome, worked at the Y in that soccer program that I then volunteered in, and went to Shorter. Got my teaching credential at Shorter. Social studies. Yeah.
So you left your advertising job just because you couldn't keep, you felt that the lifestyle was a bit too hectic?
No, I mean, you remember, does he remember? What are the 5 major financial mistakes people make?
I wouldn't know, but I'm sure I've made them all.
I said this in government class and in economics. I came up with it in economics.
I wish I remember, man.
When I was back at Gordon
Central. You were at Gordon Central?
Yeah, so I was there until they moved me to Sonoraville.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So when I was there, and now I can't remember what it is, spouse, house, child, divorce, and a boat. Those are the 5 major financial mistakes you can make. It'll drain all your funds away.
Wait. Same that.
Spouse, house, child, divorce, and a boat. Now, boat is, a metaphor. It could be a plane, or
it could be any kind of.
It's usually a boat.
Yeah. Boats are just, money pits, man. Yeah. That's what I hear. It's just they just take money.
So I'd never made those 5 mistakes, and at 40, I figured I got enough money. Well, let's go do something fun.
Yeah.
So I got out. It was a rat race. I was flying all over the country. I had like 18 people. I had 5 teams I had to look after and supervise. One was in Seattle, one was in New York, one was in Atlanta, one was in Dallas, and then the one in San Francisco. So I was constantly going from area to area, and not really to address the teams, but to help them address their clients.
I see.
So that was
clients, as in just like client outreach. Or?
At that time, I was working on AT&T Cellular, so they would have local AT&T people who would have their own ideas about advertising that we would then have to try and dispel. Like, you don't want an outdoor board. That's, when they do outdoor and they try and count its value, they count how many people pass by.
Right.
Not considering that not everybody looks at the outdoor board.
And how would you...
And they also count the people coming by in the other direction.
That doesn't make any sense.
Not considering that the board's not even facing in that direction. Now, they may have changed that. I hadn't been in the advertising business in 20 years, but that's how they were doing it back when I was having arguments with AT&T. Yeah.
But, I mean, how would you even know your ROI for, who...
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out.
You would try, but how would you do something like that with some...
So they test different... and none of my clients ever tested.
Okay.
But other people would test, and then the outdoor companies would use that information with those people's approval and say, this is the kind of success that some ads have, because they've had a different phone number here than over here, and they're calling this number instead of that number.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So that's like almost triangulating how your customers
and that's why
end up seeing this ad.
Facebook and everything is so... I got out of the business before Facebook.
Yeah.
But now that you can actually understand exactly who's responding.
That's just because it's all done here. And
that's why you can steal an election.
You think so? No way.
And then, boom, they unfriend me.
Whoa.
Why do people do that?
Wait. So hold up. I got to hear this. Stealing. What do you mean by stealing an election?
Roy Dickenson,
yes, sir,
do believe Vladimir Putin interfered in our election.
Okay.
In favor of the Republican candidate.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe they got doing business together in Russia. I don't know.
Okay. You may be right. I don't know. I'm indifferent. Because
and that's the same way to go, or you'll lose a lot of friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like discussion though and debate.
I do too, which is why I was a teacher. Well, yeah. I loved it when people would argue with me. I think the highlight, and I'm not sure if it was in your class.
Oh man.
I don't think it was Ben Freeman. It was another guy.
Ben Freeman.
He's a big guy, but he was in that. Guy? I think he was in that class. Wasn't our valedictorian in that psychology, sociology class the guy that went to diesel mechanic school?
I think you may be right, but I can't remember his name.
One of his friends looked at me and said, wait a minute, so are the Russians defending Syria because of air base at Latakia like we would defend Bahrain because of our air base there? And I just went...
He gets it. He knows these proxy
I
wars,
reached one
man.
of these students.
Well, now it's going to be a big thing about daily life. Like all these friends I have now that are into politics. Those are the kind of current events that they really want to know about. Yep. And then like it goes even to the financials with the economics and everything. It's a whole thing, man. I get to a point, but it's up until that point where I'm just like, why am I doing this? Why am I looking so into it, man? You know,
I love arguing.
Yeah.
But I do get to the point where it turns from arguing to I have said something that they've taken personally.
Oh, that's no fun.
And I'll go, I got to dial it back.
Oh, but that's on them, no?
Nah.
From taking it personally, not being able to disagree.
We liberals can be snowflakes too.
Wait, you're
aren't liberals snowflakes? Isn't that what
I think that's
we can be snowflakes too.
Do you consider yourself a liberal?
Yeah, I've been libertarian since '92. I voted for Perot, so I voted libertarian. Before that, I was Republican, and I'm probably, in government class they would draw. We had those charts,
diagrams, yeah.
And I think I'm trying to do it with the camera. The Republicans were to the right, and the Democrats to the left. The libertarians were to the top, and the authoritarians were to the bottom. And I was at the very top, in the middle between conservatives and liberals.
Okay.
So I was I'm really a libertarian.
Okay.
Get government out of the way.
Government out of the way.
But
isn't that a more Republican ideal now? Smaller governments.
You would think.
Is that right?
But that is not the case.
Okay.
They're happy with the executive branch having more power now.
Right.
Right.
For financial interests?
Because the executive branch is in the control of the conservative wing of our political establishment. If it were if a liberal one, they would not be happy with the executive branch.
Okay.
So political parties can shift their authoritarian or libertarian leanings depending upon who's got the power. Yep.
Okay. And how do you feel about who has the power now?
They have too much.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Yeah. How do you see it going down this year? Because I think from the left side, it's self-destructive what's going on then. Before
Corona, I really felt there was enough anger at Trump to have a rise in turnout. And with a rise in turnout, they could possibly defeat him. Yeah. But with no rise in turnout, I don't think they can beat him.
But from which end? Because to me, I see a divided party. One that controls the party is leaning way more moderate, but the one who is the loudest.
Democrats now?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think Sanders had a chance. I don't think he's got a chance now.
Well, why was he so popular to be the presumptive nominee?
Young people who like him.
Yeah.
They're loud.
They're just louder, yeah.
They'll get out there.
But they don't turn out.
No, they won't vote.
Why? I don't get it.
There are things to do.
I guess so. Go to a club or something. Yeah. That's so weird because I remember everyone talking about Bernie, and I was a Yang guy. You know,
I like Yang.
Me too. Just a smart dude, straightforward, says stuff that
I would have preferred Yang over Biden or Sanders.
Absolutely,
definitely.
But now it's pretty obvious. It's
gonna
be. Well, now I don't know. With the Corona thing, it's weird.
Both of them could die.
all three of them could.
Well, whoever the last two candidates are, definitely.
It's gonna be weird, man. I don't even know if, depending on
Roll the dice.
Well, do you think there'll be an election?
Roll the dice. I know. I read too much.
Oh, okay.
And I think I've been getting a lot of information lately from Economist, BBC, out of Europe. Because the media here is pretty biased in two directions.
Oh,
so I think I can get a more moderate viewpoint out of Europe. And they're really thinking, this is going to blow through us in waves. And a wave will probably pass before the election.
You think so?
But will a wave come back during our normal flu season, which might ruin
next fall
the vote in November? So it depends on where we are in that wave. Though, gosh, the thing that scared me today, though, was I can't remember. Oh, it was the old CDC director, the one who was under Obama, said, what if we can't come up with a vaccine for this virus?
There's not going to be one anytime soon.
Well,
not
it would be 18 months. Right.
Yeah.
But
manufacturing and testing.
One thing I'd never thought of is there's no vaccine for HIV. There's no vaccine for Ebola. There's no vaccine for a lot of these viruses, which aren't really an animal. Viruses are just a DNA element, an RNA line or something.
Yeah.
So you can't kill them with antibiotics or anything. So
no, you just have to treat it as
not a vaccine, and we just have to live with this the rest of our lives.
That may be the case.
It's
that's
scary.
But that's what the cold is, isn't it? That's what the flu is, right? A respiratory illness, a virus.
It said something the other. I can't remember when I read this. Was why are they worried about how many old people die? They're going to die of heart attacks or strokes anyway.
Oh no!
You're getting into a bad state in our society.
But I don't think that's an accurate way to look at it, because what they're saying is with what data we have. But right now in America, there's obesity, there's high blood pressure, there's sedentary lifestyle, there's poor diet. There's all these other factors that weren't taken into consideration.
In South Korea, most of the data we're getting now is South Korea, and that's not really an issue in South Korea. Some of those things you were naming.
Yes, but I mean, look at what they had to do. If we took the measures they took here, I mean, people would be rioting out in front of the White House more so than they are now.
Oh yeah, people would not want to be locked into their rooms.
Talk about authoritarianism.
Oh yeah, the Chinese definitely did a lot of authoritarian things. We don't need to get this political in Corona. What else you want to talk about?
You were the one that brought it up.
I know.
Well, I mean, but I like talking about it too, and I don't mind dating the show. It's all interesting.
Of course.
We are going to have to live with it though. At least 2 years.
Oh yeah.
At least
Easy.
2 years.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and I think people are going to be really surprised how younger people are going to be affected too, because like one of the guys that was affected in Rome, or not in Rome, in Canton. He got it at a church, or he was at a church or something. He was like in his early 40s, and it fucked him up, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and he did a CNN video and everything, and it was.
That's why I did Namaste when I came in today.
Yeah. That's a smart call. That's a smart call, man. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I got food though. If you're hungry.
No, I got plenty. Yeah, I'm covered.
There you go.
I did my shopping run about a week ago.
Oh man.
But remember, I don't cook, so we're talking about soup for the most part.
I don't know how you can't cook. For some reason, I thought you did a lot of cooking.
Gosh, I'm the worst cook in the world.
Yeah?
Same reason I don't brew beer. Other people can do it much better than I can.
That's right. But now you have a place that wouldn't be a bad spot to brew beer. You don't want to like be one of these guys, these artisan beer connoisseurs that like
my
make
brother
their
will
own.
give me a screwdriver and go, "Oh no, that one only works in reverse." I couldn't brew beer or cook.
Distillery, man. I have some friends who are into it, but I can't do it.
Oh, yeah.
I can't do it. Hopefully this will be legalized, and then I can just get into that. I think I would lean more towards botany than brewing beer.
Yeah.
But what can you do? So psychology. What got you to do psychology? Did you have to have a degree?
No. Gosh, how did that come out? So when I was at Gordon Central, it was economics. I did teach some government. Yeah, but then when I came to Sonora, it was all geography. That's what I got to teach for 5 years. That was wonderful. I loved that because every summer I'd travel. I've been at 75 different countries.
Oh my!
It's more than that actually, but I've lost count. But then they got rid of geography, and I got slanted into government, and we were teaching government to juniors.
Well, who makes that decision though? To change you up? Do you just say, I want to do geography?
Nah, the department heads and principals and stuff get together and assign that, because then they wanted to give seniors, geeky seniors, an elective to take so that they wouldn't go, in case they didn't want to go art, or they were already taking art, or they didn't want to go gym or something to do. Okay. So they decided to offer psych and soc the way we gave it. And they said, who wants it? I said, oh, I'll do it. Because I've been teaching freshmen for like 6 years, 8 years. I'm tired of freshmen.
What's wrong with freshmen?
I was raised to be a freshmanist, not racist or sexist, but I hate a freshman. No, it's just the level of intelligence can be a little exacting. So then they offered it to me. I said, great. And, a few people signed up for it. But then I think like in the third year, there were 3 classes of it. There's almost 100 people who want to take psychology and sociology.
I wonder why that was.
And then I would be, because I'm a great teacher. And then, shut up, Katie.
Okay. No. Well, there you go.
I heard that. No, but the numbers were up. People realized it was an easy class if you just did your work, Homero.
Yep. And
a lot of people wanted to take it, but then I wouldn't have taught anything else.
Oh.
And there was one science teacher who didn't have, they needed to give them more classes, or else they might, because they weren't taking certain that she was qualified for that class. So she took the class.
Wow.
And I went back to teaching government.
Got you.
Right.
So how do you deal with a student like myself who doesn't really apply themselves? Like, what do you do?
You don't waste your time on them for the most part.
Really? You're just like, to a point, it is what it is.
It's your choice.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want.
I prefer it. I prefer that. And it sounds like I really didn't mind it so much back then.
No, but the way that I did that psychology and sociology class is I would give you, I'd show you.
Why didn't I do the work?
In the book, every term that was important was highlighted. So I'd say you need to learn the highlighted words. Then I'd give you a quiz.
On the highlighted words.
On the highlighted words. Then I would give you a study guide on all the highlighted words. And then it would have, like, the last three would be the paragraph answer to the short answer. You really couldn't call it an essay question, although you all called it essay. And there would be the answer. So I'd give you the test. And so all you had to do is kind of read through that and then take the test. And if you didn't want to do the short answer, all you had to do is, there was always 70% was on just true, false definitions. But if you didn't want to do that, then you'd flunk.
Wow. Sounds like I didn't do so high.
I think you were distracted by other things.
But what? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know what distracted you senior year.
I don't know, man. I think just senioritis. Because at that point, that whole year, dude, I do not remember much. I'll be honest. I don't really remember too much.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's why you do a journal. You write it down. It comes back to you.
Yeah. I like that.
What was the other thing that I wrote down in my journal was the day that you said, no, I don't want you to call me Hutch. I want you to call me Homerijuana.
Oh, no.
I said, all right.
Homerijuana.
I'll call you Homerijuana.
When you walked in and called me that was the first time I've heard it in that, I think, since back then. If I didn't make it obvious I was a stoner, it was with that name. That kind
Senior
of
year, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. Oh, man. That takes me back.
Yep.
I didn't even realize you took that picture.
That was a fun picture.
Yeah.
You looked stunned. No, I'm not going to pay you.
She's just like, please, just give me one of the treats.
Yep.
My goodness. So when you started at 92 journaling, what got you into it?
Apple came out with a notebook computer.
Okay.
And I got one. I was a geek. I had a Mac in '85.
Oh, so you do it digitally?
Oh yeah, typed it in.
Oh, I thought you meant you wrote like.
Oh, like a girl? It's a journal, not a diary. Yeah, it's kind of a diary.
Oh my goodness! Now, when you write, do you write it in?
It's amazing how from year to year it changes.
I imagine it would.
Right now, I'm kind of reading in '94, and it was bullet points. But now I write long verse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you write it like someone would write a novel? Or is it just...
Remind me what happened that day, how I felt about something.
Okay. Because that's always something that got me. It's just like, to your point, how would you go about writing something like that? Because to me, I'd be like, well, this is what I did that day. And then do you write every day?
Pretty much.
Really?
Or every third day.
Every third day? Oh.
Yeah, I'm always asking people around me, what did I have for dinner the other day? What movie did we see the other night? Yeah, that kind of thing.
Wow. And that's just so you can recollect, go back and look.
So when I get Alzheimer's, I can remember who I am. The Notebook.
Right. Talk about another good movie. I haven't seen that since back then either.
Yeah, that is a good movie.
Yeah. My goodness. So is that something that runs in the family?
What, movies?
Alzheimer's.
Oh, not sure that I know that because heart problems got my grandparents.
Gotcha. That's what's in my family is heart issues.
Paternal grandfather had some dementia. My paternal grandmother had heart problems with 85. My maternal grandfather had some dementia, and then my maternal grandmother died young, so I don't know if she had dementia. But my dad, he the last, say, 2 years of his life, he wasn't really involved.
No, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, for my family, it's from what I understand, high blood pressure and heart disease.
Yeah.
So that's but that seems pretty common in the Hispanic community.
With our diets too.
Oh, it's not good. I've been trying to eat well, and the older I get, the harder it gets.
Telling me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you live off a microwave. What do you eat?
Oh, shoot.
Super processed stuff, or
No, I use the cereal in the morning and a bagel for lunch, and then dinner's usually Glenlivet and some cashews.
there you go.
Yeah.
That's it. I've been doing intermittent fasting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like 16 to 18 hours.
So, like, some days I'll go without, I'd go without dinner at all.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the meal that stays with you overnight and turns to fat, so I'll try and stay away from that one.
Oh, for sure. But now, like, with this whole keto thing, it's all about fat, trying to cut out carbs.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. People have had some success with that. My goodness. So back to psychology.
Yep.
After that, whenever we left, much longer did you teach at Sonorville?
I was there till 2013.
Oh, okay.
Left there, went to work at the YMCA, ran the soccer program for about 3 years.
I gotcha.
And then quit running it and then just was coaching and volunteering, scheduling and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I did that until last year, scheduling and coaching one team. So, and then now I go out on Thursday nights and help them, with the books and stuff.
Yeah.
Just volunteering, though.
Right.
Keep you busy.
There you go. So it's pretty recently you've retired, yeah?
Well, I started at 60. You can take your teacher salary. So I got my teacher retirement started at 60. And then I'll take Social Security at 62. And then remember, my electric bill is $24 a month. I own my house, so there's no mortgage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't use air conditioning. Water's my big expense is my satellite.
Satellite, okay.
Yeah.
Watch the TV.
I spend too much time watching TV, especially soccer. But now, there's no soccer on TV.
There's nothing on TV.
No. Well, you can go and get old soccer games. So today I was watching the 1988 European Championship.
Oh, yeah, that's right, on Facebook.
I said something on Facebook about watching the 1985 Stanley Cup final with Gretzky. Don't tell me how it ends.
No spoilers.
No, they all called me and spoiled it.
Oh, my God.
Because I knew who won anyway.
Well, after I posted that picture, everyone was trying to figure out who the hell took it. And I'm not saying shit. And they're all just guessing and everything.
I saw some of that.
Yeah. Not saying a word, man.
They probably still won't remember me.
I doubt that.
Who's that guy again? Yeah.
No, you'll be surprised. It's going to be interesting because with Mr. Chains, dude, that was the most popular episode.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Yeah. Some of the stories about his son, too, were pretty good.
Yeah?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I enjoyed that one.
Yeah. No, it turned out pretty good. I was pretty pleasantly surprised. I mean, for one, that he came out and did it just like yourself, like, thank you so much. I mean.
What else do I got to do today? I watch TV, read.
There you go.
It's raining.
You were mentioning reading. I only got into it this past year really seriously.
Yep.
And to be a nerd, it was like through some video game or like Mass Effect, right? So I was just really into it, which is funny enough. Whenever I was in your psychology class, that's the first year that game came out. Dating myself a little bit then. But I started reading that and then started getting into all of these. And now I'm trying to get into more fiction like Stephen King and everything like that. Or with Netflix, they keep doing all these adaptations.
Mm-hmm.
And what was it? Lock and Key? Joe Hill, his kid, Stephen King's kid, wrote the graphic novel, and now it's a show on Netflix. Great show.
Wow.
I'd recommend it. Yeah.
What's the title of the son's show?
Lock and Key.
Lock and Key.
Yeah.
Have I seen that ad? That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Can't remember. Did I put it in my journal?
I'm sure you could look it up.
No, I've always been a reader because my mom always read to me when I was a kid. Well, no, that's not true. She read to me some until she could get my brother to read to me or my sister. I have two older brothers and an older sister.
That's right.
And they would get, because they could practice their reading and read, simple books for me. And then, as I grew up, my dad was always offering me books to read and telling me I need to read this book. Once he showed me this book. I wonder when it came out. I should have checked it. I should Google that. The book was The Millionaire Next Door.
Mm-hmm.
And it described how the millionaires aren't the people who live in the flashy houses and drive the flashy cars because they're probably in debt to get those things. The millionaire's the one who lives in a simple house, drives a used car, owns everything, doesn't have any debt. And so my dad had this book, which I guess it had just come out because it's hardback. And he said, Roy, you need to read this. I said, is that in paperback yet? Roy, maybe you don't need to read this. I've always been, my brothers say frugal. My sisters say I'm cheap.
Okay.
Tried to be frugal.
Up to what extent? Like, do you...
5 major financial mistakes you can make.
I mean, but you have hobbies, yeah?
Well,
fishing, reading.
No, I guess my biggest hobby is travel, but I travel cheap.
How would one do that?
Well, I usually go with just a day pack, and I carry 3 sets of clothes.
Okay.
So I have pajamas, and then I have walking clothes for the day, and then I have night clothes. And the assumption is I'm on a hiking trip or something, and I walk and I'll get to the hut or the dorm. I stay in dorms and hostels and youth hostels, other hostels and stuff that, $12 a night.
Oh, that's great.
And they give you breakfast, but you have to sleep in a community room of 60 people. You better have earplugs because everybody snores.
Wait. So it's a big room where?
Well, it depends on where you are. Sometimes you'll get into it. There's a room of 4.
Okay.
Or I think the biggest one ever was in Austria at a ski resort way up high, maybe 10,000 feet. And this is a big old barn because in the summertime it's pastures and they all bring sheep and cows up.
Yeah.
So the bottom floors were for the animals and then the upper floors were for the workers. And there's just this big room and there's 40 beds on one side and 40 beds on the other side. Mm-hmm. It's like $12 spend the night. So
that's insane.
Travel cheap. Trains.
So how long do you stay out? Do you stay away a couple weeks, couple days?
Yeah, when I was at Sonoraville, we'd have our grades were due on Tuesday, Wednesday flight.
Must have been fast, a great month.
And then back in August or towards the end of July, sometimes, teacher meetings start on Friday. I'd land on Thursday.
Wow. Yeah. Just out for that whole time, yeah?
I didn't become a teacher to be a teacher. I wanted the vacation.
I see.
2 months in the summer, a month in the winter.
Wow.
It was good.
But you're doing a lot of hiking. A lot of
I did
nature.
a lot of hiking trips back then, yeah.
Yeah. So, have you always...
But it's easy to do that in Europe because you're hiking from a hut to a hut. You don't have to take your food or a tent or anything. Who was it that's doing a lot of hiking? Lily Avery. She's on Facebook. She's hiking everywhere.
Really?
But you got to carry a big pack to do the Appalachian Trail. I've done the ATs up to like I-40, almost to Virginia.
How long is that trek?
It's 6 months.
Jeez.
And you have to your bag might be like 60 pounds.
And when you start, yeah.
But when I go, my bag's like 20 pounds, and like I do that now, and that includes my laptop because I only got 3 pairs of clothes. I don't have to carry food or shelter or a sleeping bag or anything.
Wait, you don't carry a sleeping bag?
No, because you get to the place and they'll give you bedding and a duvet.
A duvet.
Just a comforter.
Ah.
And you sleep under that. And so I've done a lot of that up in the Alps. You got to have a duvet up in the Alps. It can get cold.
Wow.
It's snow in July in the Alps. I remember the first time I saw snow on July 4th, I went, I am not in Georgia.
Are you going to publish your journal, man? Because I bet you have a lot of fun stories.
No. I mean, and some people have read parts of it and they go, this is boring. And the parts, like I took every fishing trip and put it into a book for my dad to read before he, couldn't remember enough. And he loved going through it. He said, yeah, this is kind of boring. I mean, I like the parts where I'm catching fish, but where you're catching fish, who cares? And I did the same. We had this friend who was a travel agent, and he would organize a scuba diving trip every spring break, which is good as a teacher. I could get and go to. We just go, we fly down on a Friday night and fly back on a Tuesday. So 4 days of scuba diving. But I put all those together over about 15 years, and I had distributed it. I think the old guys got paper copies, the young guys, I emailed it to them. And they all read it before we went, what turned out to be our last trip, and said, God, this is boring. Why do we care what you eat at every meal? But, yeah.
Wow.
But no, I'm not going to put the whole thing into a book. It's the kind of thing you would use to write your memoirs if you're a famous politician.
Memoirs. I have a friend that's doing that, but what goes in that? Like, is it romanticized? What do you write in? This is a story of your life?
It might be interesting as a travelogue, but when I travel, it really wasn't that interesting.
You don't have any fun stories?
I got some good fun stories, but not that would be that big.
No?
No. I think the best story I got in 94. So everything was in Portugal that year. The European Championships were in Portugal.
Okay.
So what I planned to do was go to the European Championships. So I had to figure out how am I going to see my girlfriend. So we had to do a riverboat cruise on the Douro River out of Porto. I said, how am I going to get my hiking in? So I did the El Camino, which is a religious pilgrim's trail to Santiago de Compostela in northwestern Spain. And there's 4 routes. One's from the south, from Lisbon, and one comes from Paris, one comes from Madrid, and I forget what the other one comes from. So I did hiking on that trail, and that took me a couple of months. But I was sitting in a bar watching England play with these three English guys, and drinking too much, having too much fun, screaming at TV. And there weren't many people in there because Portugal wasn't on TV, so it was odd that these people are interested in the game. Then we all got in a cab and went to the Bulgaria versus Denmark game. Denmark won 2-1. Mm-hmm. Gross Hjauer. He was a great midfielder. Anyway, so I didn't see him after that. That was in 2004. 2006, I'm in Gelsenkirchen, Germany, walking through a bar trying to get a ticket to the United States versus Ghana game. Uh-huh. So I'm walking through a bar. Anybody? I need one ticket. These three English guys come running up going, "You were in Braga." I ran into them again.
What are the odds?
So we traded emails, and I go over every year and watch soccer with them.
No way.
Yeah, we've become incredibly good friends.
That is amazing.
I mean, if you run into somebody twice, you got to stay in touch with them.
Yeah. Have you ever run into anyone else? Twice?
Oh, I go see all the people. I mean, one guy in 81, when I got out of college, I went to London, saw a friend there, but wanted to get out of there and go to Coventry, which is to the north. 4 hours. How am I going to get there? Well, I travel cheap, so I was going to hitchhike, which isn't with your right thumb. It's with your left thumb because I drive on the wrong side. So I'm out there. I took the tube to Edgware Road, and then I took the motorway, the M1, heading there. And I stuck my thumb out at the entrance. You couldn't get on the motorway, but you could get at the entrance. And this van pulls up, and there's this guy that looked like Hagrid is driving. And sitting on, not in the passenger seat, but on the dash was a dwarf. And they said, "We're going up there. You want to go?" I said, "Sure." And I recently, because I was talking to the guy, I recently read all this. I'd written it in my journal. This was an early entry. I only did journals of travels before 92. So...
Oh, so you did right.
I did. So they drove me to Coventry. They weren't going to go. They just went off the motorway and dropped me in a bar. Uh-huh. But England was playing soccer against Norway, I think it was. So I went in the bar. I start watching the soccer game. I'm a foreigner. Everybody wants to know who I am. They all started buying me drinks. So when the game was over about 6, wasted, jet lagged, I called this number that a guy I played soccer with at college. He'd give me a number of his friend. I said, "Hey," I dialed the number. So my answer said, "Hey, this is Roy Dickenson. I know Rob Griffiths. He said y'all might be able to put me up for the night." It was a 12-year-old kid named Dougie. And he goes, "Dave," his older brother, who was my age, "is not here. Dave's not here." It says, "But come on over anyway." So
this 12-year-old kid.
12-year-old kid. Mom, dad are out of the house. Big brother's out of the house. So I go over there. He lets me in. And I'm wiped out. And I fall asleep on the sofa.
Okay.
He leaves.
Where does he go?
See his friend. 12. He's 12. He goes over to see his friend. So Mother and Dave come in. Dave doesn't know who I am. And he gets the golf club. He's holding the driver, and he kicks me and wakes me up and go, "Hey." And he goes, "Who are you?" Except in an English accent. I'm going, "Rob Griffiths. I played soccer with Rob Griffiths. He said I might be able to stay here for a couple of nights." "Oh, okay, sure." "Well, go back to sleep." Woke up the next morning. No one was there. A nice note from Mom saying, "Here's what you can cook for breakfast. Dave will be home at lunch to take you to lunch." So trusting, all because I knew this guy. Anyway, became very close friends with him, and I go see him every year. He's a Coventry fan. We always go see a Coventry game.
Wow.
He's got a house in the Lake District. He lets me rent from him some, so I can go there and stay for like a month. Hiking in the Lake District's beautiful. It's like where Wordsworth and Beatrix Potter. She wrote some of the Little Rabbit, Brer Rabbit, not Brer Rabbit, Peter Rabbit. She wrote all the Peter Rabbit stories.
Wow.
So that's the area that I go hiking in.
I got
So
you.
that's 2 of my favorite stories, but I got tons of other folks I've met.
Really?
Yeah, I got a good buddy in Milan right now who hadn't been out of the house for two weeks because of the coronavirus. I'm worried about him.
Oh, no.
I met him in Ireland, and then I met him again in Peru. Is it Peru? No, that's a Japanese friend. I'm getting confused. It's my first beer, I promise.
Dude, I'm feeling it. I really don't drink often. I think it shows.
Wait, am I running out of time? Oh, okay.
Oh, we got all day.
That's fine.
All day.
I'll shut up, though. I've been talking too much. What's on your agenda?
On my agenda, it's pretty scarce right now. I mean, it's basically work, helping others do short films, just trying to get back into creating more. The past few years have been pretty nuts. Just from an emotional standpoint. Dude, if you guys told me that growing up would be an emotional experience. I don't know. I would want to. I don't know, man. It wouldn't be for me.
Yeah, as I look back in life, I think this is something you mentioned.
Oh?
In your Cheney talk. How, what's really important is that inner peace.
Yeah.
What are the things you do to find inner peace?
Yeah.
And for me, it's hiking. Every day I do like 2, 4, 6 mile hike around Mount Alto or something. And this isn't, I'm not hiking where I see anybody. It's just out in the woods. And I've got neighbors.
Away from trails.
Well, they're trails. There's these old, the CCC was in the 30s during the Depression, the Civilian Conservation Corps.
Okay.
And they gave people jobs. And one of the jobs they gave was young people replanting trees throughout Appalachia, which had been mostly logged.
Okay.
And what they would do, for instance, on Mount Alto where I live, is they went up about 1,000 feet in altitude and built a trail that they could bring the donkeys up that carried all the seedlings. Mm-hmm. And then they'd come to a donkey, grab seedlings, and go plant them, and then come back to the donkey. So there's a trail around Mount Alto at about 1,000 feet. So I can walk all the way around it. And then there's certain access trails that you can get on, and you can hike those too.
Oh my
so that's
goodness.
usually what keeps me busy during the day.
Yeah. Now, do you listen to something, or are you just out there?
I'm listening to podcasts.
No way.
I listen to The Economist. I listen to Football Ramble. I listen to On the Media. That's pretty liberal. I listen to all kinds of different podcasts.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's insane. I'm only getting into it recently just for one, I want to stay active. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. And her right there, Alita, helps to stay active. And back here, there's like 8 miles worth of trails.
So you listen while you're walking?
Oh, yeah. Well, no. Actually, I stay away. Like, I'm always plugged into something. Mm-hmm. So whenever I go walking, I don't listen to shit. I just listen to outside.
See, I like listening to the outside, but I want to listen to the news too.
Something else, yeah.
I just have one in. So I can still listen for the hawks or the woodpeckers or something that I might want to hear. And I was hiking. Did you see this? I posted on Facebook. I was hiking up on Turnip Mountain, and I just decided to stop and look around. And then I heard this, and I looked over, and a tree fell right next to me. But it was like a 40-foot, 60-foot tall tree. Yeah. And it would have killed me if I'd kept walking. Well, it wouldn't have killed me because I heard it, and I saw it, and it fell real slowly. How many times have you been out in the woods where you've seen a tree fall down?
Very rare. Did it make a sound?
Oh, it was loud. Yeah. It was 60-mile gusts of wind that day. It was last week when we had a real windy day.
Yeah.
It scared the piss out of me.
It would me too, man.
And I was worried another one might fall, so I went ahead and posted that one. So in case,
there you go.
I didn't get home, people would know to look up there.
That's right. That happens a lot. I've been listening to a lot of scary stories, man.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. That's one thing I'll do because usually I'm editing or I'm mixing sometimes, but a lot of it is just, again, editing and trying to organize everything. And I'll listen to on YouTube, I've been into like scary stories. And there was this one about this park ranger, and he had like 2.5 hours worth of stories. All the weird stuff that he's seen out in the wilderness, but it wasn't a park ranger. It was an emergency guy. So they would call him in whenever someone was either passed away, missing, or something like that. And they were all scary, and they all had like this supernatural slant to them where he would like see stairs, and like they were saying, don't, his friends or his superiors were saying, don't go to the stairs. Have you ever seen anything supernatural like that or anything like that? I'm just asking. I'm curious. I don't go hiking that much, and I have just got off a binge of scary stories out in the wilderness.
In nature, I don't think I've ever seen anything scary like that. But when I was a kid, I thought I saw it. I was probably dreaming, but I remember seeing ghosts, and it was probably after a scary movie or a real trauma, like when King Kong died. I was traumatized. I loved King Kong.
Yeah. I only saw the Peter Jackson one, man.
Well, that one too, but the 36 one was better with Mae West. Not Mae West. Who was her name?
I only see the claymation as he's batting away.
Yeah, that's the one. When he died, I was in tears.
Oh, my God. That must be a crazy film, especially back then. Just seeing it for the first time, I can only imagine, man, because they probably thought that shit was real. And now everyone's so critical.
We thought the first Star Wars was cool.
Oh.
So
I don't see the I don't get the hype, man. I watched that shit when I was younger, and I don't get it. I think they're fine.
Yeah,
they're fine, but not really too into it. Now, you say you're a nerd. Why do you consider yourself a nerd? What are you into? You're like reading, but you also like sports. That's not really too nerdy to like sports, yeah?
You nerds can like sports.
Yeah? I'm not really
and
into
some
sports,
nerds
but I'm
are really into like statistics and stuff.
That's
and
true.
Gambling and whatnot. And they love watching ESPN playing fantasy sports. Yeah. No, I think I was a nerd because I was fairly good in school and I applied myself. I wanted to make good grades. And I competed with other people. I remember 5th grade being upset I didn't have the highest grade in class.
Really?
Then I remember when I was a senior in high school, I was taking AP English. Here's a story for you.
Okay.
And it was me and like 10 girls. And this was I went to Darlington in Rome. And in 9th grade, they had merged with the girls' school. So it was co-ed.
Okay.
But there were these 10 girls, and the teacher, his name was Mr. Register, which wouldn't register with you, but he was very dry, quiet.
Monotone.
Yeah. Anyway, he started reading out the grades after the first grading period. We had 3 grading periods, and we called them quarters. That the summer would be the 4th. Anyway, so he started reading out the grades alphabetically by name because these girls were so competitive. They wanted to know who was winning. And of course, their grades are all like from 97 to 90 to 100, and maybe somebody's got a bonus point in there.
On another level.
And he goes through all of them except mine. I'm the only guy, and I'm sitting in the front right chair because it's closest to the door, and they wouldn't let me sit in the back, so the girls would sit in the back to keep me from sitting on the back row. What did I say? I said, no, he said something to me. Mr. Dickenson, would you like to know your grade? I said, would I? He said, Mr. Dickinson, I've got a deal for you. If you'll take a 70 and transfer to Mr. Awesome's cinema class, we can part friends. No, it was, if you'll transfer, I'll give you a 70. So I got a 70 in AP English, and I transferred. And that's when I really started liking movies.
Wow.
Mr. Awesome was one of my favorite people. He
Mr.
showed us.
Awesome. This was his name.
AWSUMB. He showed us King Kong.
King Kong.
Citizen Kane,
Oh, that's a good one.
Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah.
He showed us all the classics.
Oh, the
Casablanca.
epics, man.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
It was a history of the cinema and how to appreciate movies and stuff. It was a great class.
Wait, did he get into like writing or what exactly? What
it
was
was
he
one
teaching?
of those senior electives that you didn't really care about. You had to write a couple of essays, and then you could get an A and go on to college.
Ah, okay. Right. I see. Yeah.
Is he getting blurry?
No,
it's just me, huh?
No, that camera's the only one that turns off. It's weird. It's the batteries. They run dry rather quick.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's something else. It's funny enough. Looking back, I kind of wish I applied myself more.
No, don't we all?
School.
Oh, don't we all? There's so many different things I could have done better.
Like what?
Study.
It sounds like you did well
Read
studying.
Your homework. Nah, I wasn't really challenged till I got to college. And, in high school, there were some classes I didn't like, so I didn't care, but I didn't need them. But the things I wish I could have taken. I wish I'd taken an art class. I never took an art class. I was in the chorale, so I was singing, but I wish I'd taken an art class and expanded that part of my brain.
Art? Wait, 1 second. You were saying something? Huh? I can't hear you.
It's low.
What does that mean, low? Oh, the battery. Oh, they're fine. It's no worries.
We time limited?
No, not at all.
Because there's one thing I want to talk about.
Okay, hold on. I want to go on this art thing real quick because
great.
I'm starting to get into that myself. It's been like 4 years, but it's interesting because it went from being music, right? And then don't really make a lot of money making music, writing music. And even if you do,
money isn't essential to inner peace.
No, it's not. No, it's not. And I think that's the journey I've been going on. But yeah, like that's one thing I've been trying to get good at. Is art. But then now I'm like, well, why do I want to get good at anything? Is it really going to make me happy? Like, what is my end goal? But now it's trying to be a storyteller and using art or cameras or audio to then further that goal rather than trying to be an expert or a master in one of these finite areas. And I think that's where I'm edging toward. But you want to talk to something?
No, that brings me up something else I wanted to say. I think in looking for inner peace, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this, is when I got this. I think it came from when I taught government class. I showed the movie 12 Angry Men, And they talked about how old people just wanted to be heard. This is my opportunity to be heard.
Okay.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Absolutely.
So I think that's so important. I think any quest to improve one's skills at something is an opportunity to be heard. If you get into art, I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who do art because it gives them inner peace just because they like doing it. Yeah. But I think when you get that response, you get a response on something, I think that is really what makes that project of learning something about art and creating some type of art so much more worthwhile.
No, I agree. I think that's why some people are leaning so into like social medias for the likes and everything. But talk about...
Oh, yeah. I know. I do that. I'm guilty of that.
Oh, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Like the other day, I posted something that had an outhouse on it. I said, I know people are going to like this picture of the outhouse. Yeah. So I posted it. But it was the reason I do it, a little recognition.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I hope I put a smile on somebody's face.
There you go. I think that's a great way to do it or look at it. Yeah. I mean, my big thing is just, again, I think you're right. Trying to get some kind of recognition. But it's tough because, to your point, trying to be a creative individual, like, especially now, I don't know if this was the same way if older artists had the same struggle in the 80s, 70s, 90s. But now, I think within the cultural climate, it's tough to get things done just because a lot of it has to be so collaborative. And with my age group, it's tough to find time. With everything else that needs to be done because many of my friends are in the gig economy, and so they're always busy. And that's one reason I wanted to do this is because I barely even see them, and I've worked with them so many times. I don't really know who they are so much, but it's tough, man. It's tough. But you never got into being creative at all? No? You do a lot of reading.
So I've attempted to write before, and I thought it was shite, so I didn't follow up on that attempt.
Okay.
One time I thought I was going to write a book. This is for example. Okay. And the whole thing about the book was I was in the future, and I had a force field all the way around me that would protect me from any threat, except when I opened up for emotions. Okay. And how the book would be all about how society dealt with that. And maybe that was the second paragraph, and I didn't even get a fourth paragraph out of it.
But that doesn't sound like a bad idea. It's a good start.
I come up with great ideas, but I can't write. My writing sucks. I didn't really learn to write until after college. Yeah, that was bad.
Okay. That's one thing I do wish the Art Institute did a little better of, because I only did a couple of video classes. It was mainly in audio. But even whenever we did writing, they really never got into what I think is important. About writing, not so much about the plot, but about human development, parallels with culture and how that changes things and how your themes can parallel what's going on with how a character develops. They don't talk about that shit at all. They're like, well, what can you shoot? Which is also important. But I don't know. I don't know where I was going. Is that what you wanted to talk about?
Oh, no. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So when I was a teacher,
oh no,
I would ask all my students to fill out a 3x5 card.
Oh no!
At the very beginning.
This is bad.
And I would say, write down your name, Hutch.
No, you can't do this.
Santos. But the only reason I would do this first card was because I would get your writing style and your name.
Okay.
Then I would get a card. What did you think? What have you heard about my class? And see, I don't know if this is really your writing or not.
No?
His name is Mr. Dickenson. He teaches world geography. He's a guy. It says guy. Doesn't say gay. And he's a teacher.
This sounds like me.
So I think that's what you wrote when what you had heard about. Now tell me, do you think those two are his writing? So
I have terror. I have horrible writing. Horrible.
So then at the end of class.
Oh, this is a bad idea.
What did you think of my class?
What did I say?
I can cuss, right?
Absolutely. Did I cuss?
Finally. Can they see that?
Yeah.
It's just a big F. Oh, no, it does say fuck you.
Wait, does it really?
Yes.
Why?
I'm going to be nice to him. Don't you worry. Finally, I can't begin to tell you how fucking happy that this fucking class is over.
No way, dude.
I must admit, though, I did have fun in this godforsaken pile of shit class.
No way.
More so than a barrel of fucking monkeys.
Okay.
I did learn. Oh, no, there's more. You
Uh,
got to let me read it.
Please, after you.
I did learn a hell of a lot, though. But overall, this fucking class was a bite out of my fucking ass.
No way.
This is a class I didn't need, but when you called my mom, she bitched at me, and now I had to pass all of the fucking 9 weeks. That's where I got about your mom.
Wait, what?
Fuck, now that pissed me the hell off. But I did my work, did my quizzes, did all of my current events. So as I conclude this index card, I just have 2 words for you. Fuck you.
No way. I mean, it could be. It looks like my writing, but you must have asked us to go off.
I know Jesse Black was in there.
Almost exaggerative.
No,
you know?
No.
No?
What was Nana's name?
Nana? I'm not sure. Oh, Alita.
Batman. No, Batman.
Batman?
Who is Batman?
I don't know.
And you are bald. I'm getting to something here. I
Oh,
don't get
okay.
you. You worry about all the small, stupid stuff like chewing gum.
That was a
Okay,
big
here we
one.
go.
That was a big one.
Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. This person had a lot to say. Is that Pittman's writing?
Is it Pittman? Okay, hold on. I don't know. I really don't know, but
We'll investigate that one later.
yes. Here we are again, Mr. Dickenson. You are almost completely rid of me. Even though my other half was kicked out of school. I don't know if this was Pittman.
4 different cards.
Now I have to make up for
4
him
different
not being
cards.
here. This is a woman. This is a girl.
Is it really?
Yeah. I mean, I imagine.
I haven't read it.
I imagine. I don't
4
know.
cards.
But Pittman isn't homosexual. So
No.
I don't think this is him, unless he's done a great job. You know,
Of hiding it his whole
keeping
life.
it- yeah.
Let's talk. Let's make the rest of the show about whether Pittman's gay.
I really like
'Cause
this
I
idea.
think he did that to me while y'all were in class.
Wait, what? Push that.
Daniel Clark. He was the smart kid, right?
He was smart. Yeah, him and Ronnie Dunn were both
Ronnie
really
Dunn,
smart.
right?
Yeah.
Nick Davis. I had to call him sir all year.
You had to call him sir.
Yeah, that's what he wanted me to call him.
Oh, is that so bad?
Oh,
This is Elizabeth.
is it?
Yeah, that's
You
her
think
name.
is that her writing?
This is not her writing. No,
No.
not at all. But you may be right. Wait, this isn't. No, this isn't Pittman.
So there's Pittman's.
You have Pittman's right there?
Starsky, yeah.
No way.
But that's not his card. That's his.
Starsky. Wait, but yeah, this is just his.
That's not his writing.
That is not his writing. No.
Dang. So Pittman's not gay.
Son of a bitch. You almost had him, man. You almost had him. No, that's not his writing. This is.
Good.
Did he not write? You don't think he wrote something?
Oh, I'll look at it later.
Oh my God. I love that you kept these though.
Oh, for 16 years, I got them all.
Wow. All your classes?
Every once in a while, I'll go back and laugh at them.
But the way you read
It would
mine,
not make a good book. I've thought about it. No, it wouldn't.
it would make a good few excerpts though.
Oh, it might be, yeah.
Yeah. I'm baffled, man. I can't believe I said all those mean things.
I think you were laughing the whole time.
Oh, okay. Because I don't know if I felt that way about I don't feel about that way now.
That's good to know.
That it was that bad. I thought it was actually really, looking back at it, was
Oh, I think we had a lot of fun.
pretty
That
relaxed.
was a fun class.
chill.
Government class, not so much fun.
How do you mean?
Oh, you had to pass it. This was an elective. You didn't have to pass it.
Ah.
Yeah, government was tougher.
Oh, I don't think I took you in government.
Probably not.
No. But I did hear about this gum.
Oh, yeah, the gum Nazi.
Yeah.
Because the first principals, no one was chewing gum the first year, right?
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after he left, they kind of relaxed it, except for me.
But why? If no one, I mean.
Did you ever see us when we were cleaning the desks at the end of every year?
No.
It was nasty.
Oh.
And if they had taken it out of their mouth and just stuck it there, fine. But no, they wedge it in between the desk and that metal rod. And, God, it was just horrible.
Why did you have to clean the desks?
Oh, yeah, we have to clean all our desks because another teacher may get them the next year.
Okay.
Yeah, and you're supposed to keep the kids from putting gum on their desks. That's one of your jobs.
I see.
Yeah.
I mean, now it makes sense.
But I actually have a button that says gum and then a line through it like Ghostbusters. It's Anna Hasty made that for me.
Anna Hasty. I think she liked the picture that I posted yesterday.
That would be interesting. And then there was, who was it that started calling me the gum Nazi? Darn it, I can't remember that.
My goodness.
But y'all had some great names for me. I mean, the name like Dickenson, yeah.
Yeah,
they were. The cards were funny.
Yeah.
And I would take the cards at the end of every grading period and just, go to the bar where I graded papers and share them with people. We'd laugh about them.
No
They
way.
were hilarious. My brothers and sisters loved them. Thanksgiving was a hoot. No, Christmas was a hoot. I wouldn't get them until after Thanksgiving, right? Wow. I mean, I was in advertising for 16 years. I did research.
Sure.
This was research. I actually, one year, I totaled up. It's about 80% positive, 20% negative. That's 80-20 rule. That's pretty good.
Negative towards your class, or?
Hated my guts.
But why?
Because I was a Dickenson.
But after taking your class, I never understood the stigma.
Well, if you flunked, then, you know what?
Even though I failed, I didn't hold it against you.
One of the hardest cards that hit me in the heart was one smart girl said, "You let it get too out of control."
You let it get too.
I couldn't focus. I couldn't study, and I couldn't learn as well. And I'm thinking, oh God, but how is I going to keep Homero involved unless I let him, rage a little bit and do stupid stuff?
What did I do that was so stupid?
Yeah, you'd have to go back to that time.
You're gonna have to refresh my memory, man.
I can't remember all those things.
Because all I know is I think maybe being talkative with Pittman. Maybe with Ronnie, but I don't really think I did anything crazy. I don't think I was.
No, but when we were doing in psychology, the stuff we were talking about in class. I mean, we were talking about sex, and we were talking about what are the problems that students have, and we're talking about bullying and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, so we got into some.
Do you remember the day we did? I'm not sure if I did it with your class, but I said, all right, tomorrow we're going to do a beauty pageant.
I do not. No, I don't remember.
Man.
I don't remember you doing that with my class.
I don't know if I did it that first year, and I think you were in my first year. But I did it after that. Okay. And I'd say that the day before, and of course everybody's assuming the girls are going to be walking. The guys would have to parade around, and the girls would vote.
There we go.
For the prettiest, yeah. Little role reversal.
There you go.
We had fun in that class and watched some good movies.
I don't remember you putting on movies for us.
I know I put on movies all the time.
Really?
One of my favorite ones was De Niro and comedian. Who was the genie in Aladdin? Robin Williams.
Robin Williams.
So Robin Williams is the doctor. And
Awakening.
De Niro, Awakening, yeah.
That's a great film.
I love showing that one to class.
That's a good one. But I don't remember you showing that in the class. You want to know what the one?
I hope it wasn't because you were stoned or something.
No. Well, honestly, I don't think I ever went to school stoned. It was only after.
That's good.
And I think that was really about it. It was only after school. I didn't really start getting stoned in the mornings until I went to college.
I gotta find out who wrote 4 different cards in that class. And this is a girl, you think?
It is.
That doesn't look like a girl's handwriting.
I mean, that or
I'll sleuth on
it's a someone that was closeted. Pittman.
I hope he watches this thing.
Me too.
I'll get a card for him.
I asked him to be on the show. He said no, and I was like, what the hell, man? He's got such a personality.
So what do you mean he's playing uncle? No, that's Miguel.
Miguel's kid. Yeah.
Are they related?
They aren't. But I mean, a lot of those guys, they're tight knit.
Yeah.
And they'll hang out a lot and everything like that. And I guess I'm assuming he's playing uncle because whenever I did see him last, that's what he talked about the most was Miguel's kid, which was odd because we never, out of all of us hanging out, Miguel would be the last one we thought we'd get married, and let alone be the first one to have kids. But yeah, man, he's killing it. Has 2 kids.
That's great.
And Michael seems to really be enjoying being a part of that.
Cool.
Pretty crazy. So yeah, maybe he's gay. I'm just kidding.
I can't wait to see if he comments.
I hope he does. But he's got to, I got to get him on here. Oh my goodness. It's been an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh gosh, I've never talked this long.
No?
You think it was interesting at all?
I think it was very interesting.
Well, my apologies to anybody who's bored. Or they've probably already hung up and gone somewhere else by now.
We'll find out in the analytics, but I don't think that's the case. I think they enjoyed it.
Analytics? What do you mean analytics?
Oh, dude, I'll look up my analytics, man. Seeing how, for me, it's not really about the.
Oh, off of YouTube.
Yeah, it's not the number of views for me. It's how long they watch for.
Oh, cool.
And then how.
I shouldn't have saved the Pittman until last.
Isn't that what?
I did enjoy that class. That was fun.
I
enjoyed teaching psychology and sociology.
I remember having a good time, but I also remember being like, my one big memory from then, because it's a lot of it's a blur. When I was in your class, I remember talking with Michael about something. I don't remember what. I'm sure it was something really important.
Well, it had to be.
Right.
Or you wouldn't have interrupted my class.
Yes. But it wasn't just me talking.
Everybody talked.
Everyone talked.
I let that class go.
Yes, but like, I think it was that class, that day or something.
Yep.
You were just focused on me, and I just had it. I was just like, that's it. I closed my book, and I led my head down, and I remember you asking, are you done, Homero? And I was like, I'm done, man.
I wonder what I set you off on.
No idea. No idea. And I don't think it was even you. I think it was just that day, man. I was just spent.
Oh, no. I could have my bad days where I just pick on somebody.
You did do that once with another student that walked in. It was a younger guy. I think he was a junior or maybe a sophomore. But he walked in, and you were telling a story about either him or his friend. And you said something off the cuff to him as he walked out.
Uh-huh.
Because he just came in to give you something or something like that, and he walked out. And what you said must have devastated him, because he looked like he was about to go in tears, man. And then he walks out, and I remember your face, because the whole class looked at him, realized it got real, looked at you, and you were like...
God, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, and I think you walked out to apologize or...
Foot and mouth disease.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was, though.
Good.
I should have a journal.
Oh, no. Actually, statute of limitations, I'm probably
calling. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Oh, good. Well, I'm going to call it. I think we had a great convo.
Thank you very much. It's good to be heard.
Dude, I appreciate you coming by and being willing to be heard. Yeah, I was going to fist bump you, but
no. Namaste.
We're going to do that. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you next week on the flip side.